Hey guys, and welcome back to a new video. Is making your agent stick to test-driven development actually the next thing when it comes to not just writing test cases for your app, but also writing real production logic? This is currently quite a big trend, and especially because the superpower skills, you'll probably know this if you've worked with agents, it's super popular. You can see 270,000 GitHub stars. It's because this plugin, so just a set of skills and some other useful things for AI-driven development, but because these skills involve a test-driven development skill. And if we take a look at that skill here, that is really something a lot of people use right now. So it's in the end a skill that teaches your agent to stick to test-driven development. So to, in the end, write an empty function signature first before you're about to do something, before the agent is about to do something. As a second step, it will write all the different test cases, thinking about possible edge cases, thinking about what needs to be tested before it having written the actual production code, the actual function implementation. And then lastly, after really having this big chunk of test cases, then that is the point where the agent gets to writing the production code, the real logic, because from that point on, it can simply run the test cases it has written before in order to check if the logic, the production code that it has written, is actually functionally correct. And this methodology is not new with agents. This has been around pretty much forever in software development. And it simply forces you a bit more to think through different scenarios, think of possible edge cases, and to write test cases in the first place. But because this is so trending right now, I thought let's actually take a look how this applies to Android development and whether this is really a valid strategy or whether sticking to another strategy with your agents may make more sense. So in general, I like a lot of the skills this superpowers framework here gives us. So it's really not just test-driven development, but for example, I really like the brainstorming skill. I really like the systematic debugging skill. But I've also used this test-driven development skill. And if we take a look into it again, it really uses this red-green refactor approach. So red just means it first of all writes a fading test, because the moment you write a test case without it having the production code, obviously that test case will fail. And then it will verify that, so it makes it fail. And lastly, it will write the minimal code to make it green, to make this test case it has written before pass. And I've stick to this approach already in some larger code bases, but I've also prepared a little sample, which is kind of a textbook example for unit testing on Android, a calculator with expression parsing and expression evaluation. So not really just a simple text editor that can calculate 4 plus 4, but really a text editor with parentheses, where I already built the functioning UI for, so we can really type some kind of numbers here, some expressions. We just can't yet parse this expression to really understand which parts it consists of. In other words, we can't calculate anything yet. And this is what I've then actually used as a base for this test-driven development skill from the Superpowers plugin, not just to write the test cases, but obviously also to write the code for this calculator logic. So let me show you what the output of that is here with TDD. This is in the end a test class that it has written. So these test cases it has written first before actually implementing the function from this default expression evaluator. So in the end, just generated empty stubs here for these functions without really putting any code in it. And then here it wrote these kinds of test cases. I think in total, those are 33, 34 test cases, each asserting a different, each asserting something from the function from a different angle possibly. So here, adding two numbers is a different thing than subtracting two numbers. If subtraction fails, it doesn't mean that addition also automatically fails. So very valid case here for having two distinct test cases about that. Chaining some additions, multiplication, etc. So all kinds of different types of tests have been written here. And then with every single test it wrote, it also wrote that piece of production logic here in this default expression evaluator to really make this work. And if we now run this code here, it will also give us pretty reasonable results. So here on our device again, if we have something like 5 minus 9 plus 8, something like this, you can see we get the result minus 12, which is correct. Yeah, 5 minus 17. So this is the outcome with applying test-driven development. Before I actually show you the results without test-driven development, let's actually talk about when that can make sense for Android in general. Whether you stick to that with agent or without, it's of course a methodology that is around for quite a long time already. In general, I have nothing against TDD. I think TDD is actually great, especially for examples like I'm showing you here, where it's very easy to define inputs, a lot of different inputs, and very easy to define the expected outputs. So here, this is a mathematical expression, which is very easy to think of and to define. And it's very easy to also define which expected result we're getting out of that. If we have these two conditions met, then it's very easy to write test cases for that, of course. So here you can, of course, see it's in the end all just a single assertion line in all these test cases. But the underlying logic is very complex for evaluating such expressions. So there's a lot of code that actually has to be correct. There are many, many code paths that have to be tested here. So this is really the dream scenario for applying TDD, because it's very quick for you to write these test cases in the first place, to think of various different test cases, and then also very quick to verify that your production code works by when just writing it. The thing is, and the problem that I have a little bit with TDD on Android is that there are quite some scenarios and quite some classes that you could technically unit test with a normal local JVM unit test, because test-driven development is usually just applied for real unit tests, for tests that run fast. But on Android, there are certain types of JVM unit tests that don't have this condition where it's so easy to define clear inputs and clear outputs, but where writing the test case is actually not so trivial. Best example is if you actually have quite a complex view model. Imagine you have a view model with lots of different flows, flow operators, combining multiple flows, then some extra async coroutines. Technically, all that can be locally unit tested, but it's very rare, even for an experienced developer, to just write a test case for something before having the actual real implementation with all that async logic and have the test case really test that correct code. Because of course, if the test case has an issue, you're, I don't know, asserting on the wrong thing at the wrong time, something with the async stuff wasn't properly thought of, you may be getting some emissions in the wrong order or so, then the test case can break despite the production code being correct. But there's just a setup issue in the test case, because writing these kinds of test cases, it's possible, and it's also not rocket science, but it has happened to me quite often that I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that's something I forgot in the test case. Obviously, we need to add something like advance until idle here. We need to advance the virtual clock. Something like this that you often don't instantly think of before even seeing the production code. So there are these scenarios in Android development where test-driven development is just not so easy as it is maybe for backend development where we have loads of business logic. We just execute some plain functions with clear inputs, clear outputs. For these environments, it's great. And also in Android, we have these environments, which is usually what you have in your app's domain layer. But mobile applications are very often not that business logic heavy. As I mentioned, it's usually on the backend side. And in addition, in mobile apps, we have these two different types of tests. We have local JVM unit tests that actually run locally, just on the JVM, as the name says. Super quick. They don't need any sort of Android environment, Android emulator to be spun up to run. But then we also have these instrumentation tests that have to run on an Android device, obviously for UI tests, but also for possibly unit tests that test something that involves parts from the Android SDK. So I don't know, you have some kind of connectivity manager class that tracks when connectivity swaps from true to false or something like that. Technically, you can also write a normal unit test for that, since it can be seen as a unit in your code that gets tested, but it requires an Android device. And then it's also not that suitable for TDD anymore, because these tests are very heavy, because an emulator needs to be spinned up, they can be quite slow, they can be a bit more flaky in some environments. And that's why I personally don't stick to TDD as a developer. Not yet talking about agents, but I feel like Android is just not the right environment for that. But in general, TDD as a methodology, I quite like. So I like the idea behind it, because usually people have too little tests, and making this a methodology forces you to actually always write tests as part of your development. Because writing test cases is just part of development, and this is something a lot of developers don't understand. Especially nowadays with agents, writing test cases comes almost for free, but even when we still had to write them manually, they had a massive payoff, and people did not realize that. But sticking to something like TDD can then get people to write more test cases in the first place, and that alone can give you a massive advantage in this project. But as promised, let's now take a look at doing this without TDD. Without TDD means I took this exact code here that was written, but I actually use my own Android unit testing skill. So I have my own skill for Claude Code here in this case, in which I define my conventions for testing, but these are applied after the implementation has already been written. So I'm using the identical implementation here, and now just apply my own unit testing skill to see which test suite ends up being better. And this is what I've done here on this without TDD, same code branch. In the end, same code here for the production part, but this default expression evaluated test. So let me sync this first. If we take a look in here, then, well, on the one hand, you will see that it uses JUnit 5. This is something that wasn't just defined in this TDD skill. It's not something that is negative or so that it uses JUnit 4. It's just that my own skill uses JUnit 5. But in the end, if we take a look at that here for this test, it has a lot of nested tests here, but a lot more. So it also uses parameterized tests. It's also something that's just possible with JUnit 5, where we have like multiple inputs of a similar form at least that will all run in the single test case. So this will massively reduce how many test cases you need, or you can just massively bump the number of different inputs of the same type you want to feed into such a test case. But it has a lot more test cases. And if we actually also take a look at going down here, it also thinks much more about possible edge cases. So the previous TDD approach with the TDD skill from Superpowers didn't really think of that many edge cases. It had like 34 different test cases. But here my own skill actually thought about things like swapping the period symbol here from a comma to a dot. Because in Germany, we, for example, use a comma. In the US, people use a period. If we scroll down, you can see it even tested that with weird inputs, because my skill explicitly challenges the production code and actively tries to break it. And this should be your mindset when testing code. I understand that all these inputs are technically not valid inputs for the user to get to here in this particular calculator example, where we can in the end only type what we have here and we can't manually type something there. But who says that this will be the only place this expression evaluation function will be called from? In the end, if we take a look here, this function will just be invoked with a plain string. And nobody can promise us that this string will already be completely mathematic validated code like here. So in this example, in the view model, we make sure that we can only get to such mathematically correct code. But given that we have a standalone class, nobody can promise us that after all. And this expression could technically be plain string hello world. And our parser is also expected to work under these constraints. Imagine we make this a library and thousands of people use that. Well, then we can't assume that they all have this correct infrastructure here built around that. And this is in the end what's very important for testing, that you actively try to break the production code. And this is something that my skill does a lot better. So lots of breaking inputs here, just in closing parentheses, 5 multiplication with nothing afterwards. An empty string is a very valid boundary case here. But if we scroll down, you can see also some kind of ASCII characters, that they aren't counted as operators, some kind of weird UTF symbols, emojis. It's also something, by the way, if you're writing a test case for validating some kind of text field or so, then make sure to test for emojis, because that is a valid input a user can usually put in a text field. And if there is some kind of emoji in an email, then some email parsers, depending on how it's implemented, may actually let that go through. But this is all code my agent has written with the help of my skill. I did not instruct it in any way what kinds of edge cases it needs to think about, but it's really, really complete. And I've really also, of course, ran this through another agent to analyze this test suite, because by default, having more test cases is not automatically better. It's only better if these more test cases, if each one of these also really kind of attacks the code or targets the code from very distinct angles. If we have 100 test cases where all of them just test adding two numbers, but the numbers themselves are different, then the test suite is worthless. But I really also checked this in detail here with this code. It's really distinct test cases, and about 3 times as many as for the TDD approach. And this has just given me much, much better results here in real projects to stick to this skill and also first of all build the implementation and then write the test cases. This is my own experience. If you actually want to stick to this exact skill and just get it for yourself, for your own development, then you can actually download that for completely free. I'm sharing my top 8 Android development skills in this video's description, free download. Not just about unit testing, but also about architecture, building reusable composed components, about error handling. So you really equip your agent with a set of skills that give you very, very modular and very maintainable code for your Android apps. Hope this helped. Thanks for watching. I will see you back in the next video. Have an amazing rest of your week. Bye-bye.